He's in the concussion protocol, so we'll go from there.
And also, with the kickers, you obviously decided not to bring another kicker in camp. Some teams do for competition. What is your philosophy on another guy at that position, bringing someone in just for the competition versus not?
Well, he's our kicker. And for right now, we're going to continue to work it. We've got to continue to work on the timing and the rhythm. It is going to be a little bit different. Different snapper, has a little bit more velocity, and a little bit of a challenge. But we've got a few weeks. That's why you have training camp, to get those things right.
Hey, Ron, I wonder, obviously with his injury and then also being on the COVID list, I wonder how you plan that ramp up for Curtis Samuel, kind of what your thought is for him for the next couple weeks.
Is continue to work on the side until he feels comfortable and ready to roll. As soon as RV gives us the all ready to go, and then we'll get him going. He'll be out in the walkthroughs. He'll get a chance to see those things, work with those, work with the guys a little bit there. But, just a matter of time.
And what role do you imagine for David Sharp as he returns as well?
Same thing, get back in there and compete on the offensive line.
With Curtis, does he need preseason reps for you to feel comfortable with where he is?
Not necessarily. I mean, I feel very comfortable with who he is as a football player. I appreciate who he is. But he'll be out there. I mean, it's just a few, a little bit of time.
Two guys, cornerbacks. How has William Jackson adjusted to coming in here, adjusting to the scheme and everything, and also Troy Apke adjusting to the new position? How have they done?
I think they've done well. I really have. I'm very encouraged with Troy. Those first couple of, probably the first week, you could feel the awkwardness a little bit for him. But lately, you've seen him start to settle in and really start to make plays. He's putting himself in better position to give himself an opportunity to make those plays. That's probably the biggest thing. So he seems to be grasping it pretty well. As far as Williams concerned, I really like what he's starting to get used to. We're not asking him to play with his back to the line of scrimmage all the time. It's just a little bit different for him. He is a solid man coverage guy. What we're trying to do is get him used to playing with vision and seeing the quarterback through the receiver.
Ron, it looked like the defense seemed to have a good day today, particularly in the secondary. In the past, when that's kind of happened, you thought maybe they're seeing the same offense a lot. What did you notice today? Why it felt like the defense was getting the better?
Well, part of it is almost situational. When the ball, the ball's being thrown, and you're not having to play the run constantly. So the drill will tend to favor the defensive guys. When you have to play the run a little bit more truer, a little more honest, it changes it a little bit. But having said that, that's still good for the quarterbacks, even though the defense does have a little bit of a tip. I don't stress over that. As long as they're making right decisions and they're going in the right direction, that's a plus for us.
And on a separate note, the Chargers have said that they're going to sit out some of their key guys, including Justin Herbert, the whole preseason. How much do these preseason games matter as you're getting ready for that first opponent?
Well, I can't speak for the Chargers and their philosophy, but our philosophy is we want to get our guys out, have them break in a little bit, get used to some things. I know you want to be careful. I know you don't want to see anybody get hurt, and that's the unfortunate nature of this game. You can have a guy get hurt on the second or third play of the game. So we just kind of want to get our guys out there, see what we have, and then go from there.
From a game planning perspective, does it matter if you never see the opposing quarterback or other guys that you're going to have to focus on?
You don't play against people as much as you play against what they do. And the hard part is, we won't see what they do with those guys specifically, but we will see what they do as a football team.
Well, Ron, actually kind of going with that then, when you're going through practice, obviously we see the guys go ones versus ones and things of that nature, but in terms of actually them run the scout team, how fundamental is that for them to start to truly understand? I guess my question is, how do you levy running stuff against the system that you guys are going to see from the other team versus your best players, just so that they can get do you understand what I'm kind of asking there?
Well, I always kind of believe that during training camp you should always practice your ones against your ones. It's how you make each other better. Mm-hmm. There are some when you will do the carded practices for the most part, and unless the team is a different style of defense, 3-4 versus a 4-3, you're going to get very common looks. There's only so many coverages you can run. There's only so many blitzes. There's nothing new out there. There really isn't. And offensively, it's the same thing. I mean, everybody talks about the innovation, all that stuff. All you got to do is put on film from the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and you'll see all those plays being run. I mean, zone read, all that stuff. That stuff has already been done. The biggest thing we have to do is, right now during camp, is focus on us, learn those things, and then we'll have specific periods that are staked out that are just for preparation. As we start getting in deeper into camp, we'll start working on specific things as far as our next opponent, Cincinnati. We'll start looking at things as far as San Diego now that we'll have some film on them, from the preseason game, going to give us a chance to take a look at what they potentially could do. And so a lot of it may be a guess once we open up on the regular season, but we'll take what we see on tape and we'll use that and we'll prepare for it.
Samuel doesn't need the preseason because he's been in the system. For you, you've been around him for years. What does he look like when you see him and you'll say, I know he's like back where he needs to be, and like what will that look like, not only in practices but in the game? Like what's that difference for him exactly?
You'll see his play speed is special. You'll see it. It's very similar to the way Terry plays, very similar to the way Diami runs. It's different, and you'll see it. One thing I love about Curtis is he's a high energy player. And it spreads. He's infectious to his teammates, and you'll feel those things when you watch him.
With Samus Reyes, you see his height, you would assume like automatically great catcher, but it was interesting you said physical the other day. Like, what is it about? Is the height the advantage that makes him physical, or what about him makes him so physical?
I think it's his overall body makeup, chemistry. He's a little bit of a bull in a china shop right now because he hadn't quite learned to focus his energy. But when he does, he's very powerful. He plays with good leverage. He's got good core strength. That's another thing that a lot of guys, if they have good core strength, body control, they can be very powerful, and he is.
You guys released Kelvin Harmon. Was that related to his ACL, or does that just speak to your depth at wide receiver that you guys have?
It speaks to the depth of the room. It's a very good room. And Kelvin's going to get opportunities, but we have a very good room right now. And, some of the decisions we made today were based on giving guys an opportunity out there right now.
Aaron, following up on what you were saying about putting on the film from the 20s, 30s, and 40s, I'm wondering when is the last time, or maybe if ever, that you saw something truly new in terms of offense or defense innovation?
Probably when I first started playing. You can find things that you can relate to what's happened already, and it's just a matter of watching tape. And people say, oh, look what we've created, look what they've done. Well, if you look long enough, you'll find it. You really will. There's a little saying when I was with Andy Reid, one of Steve Spagnuolo used to say, "This is a beg, borrow, and steal league," and that's pretty much it. It's just a matter of how well you do it. You know what I'm saying? If you just do it better than your opponent, then, hey, you're going to win a few more games.
Getting back to what you were talking before about playing guys in the preseason, because there are coaches who just are panicked about doing that, and you seem to be the other way. Like why do you want these guys, and what is it you're trying to see?
Well, part of it is you got to also build up that callousness to the game. You got to get used to it. Now, if you can simulate that in practice, then that's awesome. That's great. Then that's what you should do. And I don't know if you can truly simulate it in practice. There were some really good things we got from New England the other night, and I really appreciate them too. I really did. I thought that the no huddle that they ran, even though it was with their second bunch, that was great for us. It really was, because we handled the operation pretty well. We saw some guys needed to get a little bit more conditioning, but those are the things that you would only see if they participate, and so we got a chance to watch that. But again, if you know your team and you feel good about your team, that's your philosophy, then do it.
Is there something with the one less game that changes how you approach that stuff?
Yes, because you have 2 weeks before you play, and you're not working against anybody else, and it gives you a chance to truly, if anybody does get nicked up, get them back. That's what I think is pretty cool. by having that, that extra bye week, I guess, if you want to call it that. I think that helps lead you into the season on a much healthier note, hopefully.
In terms of that third game, like you anticipate using the players, the starters, like a half as opposed to maybe less if it was the fourth game? I know. I had to ask.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know.